the Madman! Welcome to another episode of Custom Hearthstone Cards. This one is a very special one because I'm not just covering 1 week of cards, I'm not just covering 2 weeks of cards, we're covering the top 10 of 4 weeks of cards to catch back up. So let's start with the top cards of week of February 9th, of which I'm going to take 2 selections. Rat Fink. 5 mana, 2/7, Battlecry. Your opponent casts a random spell from their hand with this minion as the target. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. Obviously a nod to Dirty Rat. I always like cards that have the potential of breaking combos. Probably should read as your opponent casts a random spell. If it targets something, it targets this target. Because the intention is to also be able to cast things like Arcane Intellect or Secrets. Similar to Dirty Rat, it is a card that could give your opponent a boost, but it could also be taking away a key combo piece away from the opponent. I think it is fair combo disruption. March of Time, 1 mana Warlock spell. Draw a fatigue card, deals damage to all minions. Design, 5 stars, balance, 5 stars. Normally the first card you draw that is a fatigue card is 1 damage, and that's probably going to be the case for most of the time you cast March of Time. You'll take 1 damage and then 1 damage to all minions, so it's kind of like slightly bad Whirlwind. Second time you cast March of Time, you'll draw a 2 damage fatigue card, and you'll deal 2 damage to all minions for 1 mana, which is nice and efficient. If you do manage to hold off until the really late game before playing March of Time, then you could deal lots of damage to all minions for the cheap, though it's probably not that strong. And now we move on to the top cards of the week of February 16th, and that is none of them. That's right. Every single card from this week was either uninspiring, overpowered, or just didn't really strike me as that interesting compared to the rest. Rest in peace, week of February 16th. And the top cards of Custom Hearthstone, week of February 23rd. Healthy Snack, 4 mana Druid spell. Heals 3 health to a minion if the minion is still damaged. Summon a 5/5 Devilsaur. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. Also, special note, this particular picture is edited by none other than the brilliant Kripparrian and Rania duo.
So, broccoli should be just as baiting for vegans as it is for normal people. Well, probably.
In terms of stats, the card is worth 5/8 of stats for 4 mana, which is incredible, but it's got a pretty steep requirement. You have to heal 3 health to a minion, which has at least 5 health to it, which has taken the damage already. So for all of those requirements, that seems pretty tough to do, and I think this fits the Druid theme really well in terms of summoning a beast and also healing. Split-Necked Dragon, a 6 mana 4/6 dragon with Rush, only damages minions next to whomever this attacks. Should probably read if attacking a minion only damages minions next to whomever this attacks, because it can still hit face. Design, 5 stars, balance, 4 stars. I really like the idea of the card. It's a very interesting minion, and I do think that it should be Rush because it interacts in a really specific way. You're casting Betrayal, essentially, with your Split-Necked Dragon. Uniquely, this card is really terrible against 1 minion because it only damages minions next to whomever this attacks. So if you're attacking into 1 minion, you're doing nothing. Though if the opponent attacks into you, they're still attacking into your 4/6 at least. The reason why I have the balance down a star is because I think it's a little underpowered. I kind of think of this card as like a minion with a battle cry of Betrayal. If I think that this is going to, on average, attack into a 4-attack minion, then this is a 3-attack minion. This is like a 4/3, and then battle cry cast Betrayal. A 3 mana 4/3 with the battle cry of casting like a 2 mana spell, which is not very often played. That's my rough balance idea of it. So I think this could go down 1 mana, or perhaps be notched up a stat. Obviously 5 mana would make it more strong than something like a 4/7, but I think that either change would make the balance closer to decent card. I think that this flavor fits better as a Hydra card as well, instead of a strange split neck dragon which somehow can't do damage to its only target. Hydras are known for having like multiple heads, and there might be out there attacking different things. And we got Daze, 2 mana rogue secret. When your opponent plays a minion, return it to their hand. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. It's very fitting for rogue because it is exactly sap, except it's like precast sap. And precast sap is both weaker and stronger than sap in the sense that, well, it's a decent rogue secret, but if people are playing it, then like you're almost certain that your opponent is going to know that it's going to be Daze. They'll cast a weak minion, trigger your Daze, and it's certainly not OP, but if you can set it up, you can certainly set up ahead of time tempo and then keep your opponent down. So I like it. And then finally, top cards of Custom Hearthstone, week of March 2nd, featuring 5 cards from this week. We're starting off with Gem Thief. A neutral 3 mana 3/3 battle cry, choose a minion and steal its gem. You're targeting a minion already on the board, and you're taking either their common, rare, legendary, or epic rarity. It almost seems like a silly card, a little bit unglued in its art, but I think it works well. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. Gem Thief is well balanced around the idea of a 3 mana 3/3 which draws a bad card, a 1 mana card that searches up a specific rarity from your deck. And while that by itself, if you were to actually include that in your deck, like 1 mana draw legendary card from your deck would probably be too powerful. There are prerequisites on Gem Thief, which is your opponent or you have to have a minion on the board with like a specific rarity that you want. And you'll probably not usually be fishing for a specific rarity, maybe hoping for one. You're gonna have to settle for, I guess we'll take the rare gem or the epic gem, whichever is available around. So very cool, got some interactivity to it. This is about as far away from like breaking the fourth wall of the game that I think is okay, in the sense that it's actually referring to a mechanic on a card that isn't a actual attribute that's usually interactable with, which is the rarity of a card. But I think this much is acceptable. Next up, a simple mage spell, Peek in the Forbidden Tome. 1 mana, discover a warlock spell. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. I think this is one of the most elegant designed spells, very short amount of text, yet super interesting. A 1 mana spell to discover a choice out of 3 is usually not that interesting, usually not that powerful, but when you're searching up like out of class cards, that turns it so much more interesting. And mages and warlocks tend to have a little bit similar as well. They're both spellcasters. Perhaps the mages want to just, explore a little bit of the darker side. It's oozing with flavor, it's super well balanced, and it's simple and straightforward. Cool card. This could also be reflavored as a priest card, but I think it fits very well in mage. Snake in the Grass, 4 mana hunter card. Summon 3 1/1 snakes. One of them has poisonous, secretly. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. I like this idea of a skill testing card and a risk-reward type card where you have asymmetrical information on what's going on in the board. You're gonna summon these snakes. One of them, you don't know if it's the left one or the middle one or the right one, is gonna have poisonous. Or rather, the opponent won't know. You'll know. So the opponent's gonna have to make a call like, well, do I want to clear these cards with my spells to protect my big guy on the board? Do I send my middle power guy at a 1/1? Is it worth it to attack these snakes? And of course, Snake in the Grass is pretty heavily countered by whirlwind type effects. 3 1/1s for 4 mana is obviously not very efficient. So it's this beautiful combination of one of them secretly having poison, which makes the spell worth it. King Midas, 5 mana 4/4 legendary, neutral, with Rush. Overkill, add a golden copy of the minion killed to your hand. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. I think that we would have to rename the card to fit into a Hearthstone lore, but as a design template placeholder name, King Midas fits pretty well in terms of the guy he touches turns into gold and gets added into your hand. It's very similar to Holy Water in the sense that Holy Water kills a guy and then adds it to your hand, but King Midas stays around, possibly, if it successfully overkills. Has the potential to get you even more cards, so a little bit stronger than Holy Water, a little bit weaker in the sense that you have to overkill the minion as well. So nice, like the card a lot. And then finally we have Snow Hill Beauty, a 4 mana 3/2. Battle Cry, if you control a frozen minion, summon a 4/5 Chill Wind Yeti. Are we done trying to make Freeze Shaman good yet? Well, I think this card would have been awesome to print during that era. I think this should be a Knights of the Frozen Throne card, in fact. This might have enabled the freeze mechanic. This is the type of payoff that Freeze Shaman needed. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars, asterisk, perhaps only good during the Knights of the Frozen Throne era. Missed opportunity. I mean, you could still print it if we were going to keep giving Shaman more freeze mechanics. Cool note that this is a 4 mana 7/7 worth of value, but it requires a pretty steep requirement that you control a frozen minion, which is not that easy. So that condenses a whole bunch of custom Hearthstone cards, including one that was like kind of a mediocre week, into one. So obviously really strong ratings this time around as I picked the best ones. Looking forward to seeing what people create for Rise of Shadows type custom Hearthstone cards soon.